The next letter in the acronym is B for be creative. Music is inherently creative, right? And the beauty is that is what recovery is. Recovery is an act of creativity. It's the process of thinking and acting differently about life and dealing with life on life's terms and dealing with feeling. And we have to make up a new way of being that's different from our old way of being in some way, shape, or form, and maybe multiple ways and shapes and forms, right? So recovery being an act of creativity, all humans are creative. And the big myth is that you have to be an artist, musician to be creative, and it's just not true. To be artistic is to be creative, but to be creative doesn't necessarily mean to be artistic. It means to solve problems. And this is one of the definitions of creativity that we forget. But creativity is the muscle we use to solve problems. So let's give an example, a real world example. I'm wearing shoes right now, sneakers, Pumas. And on the end of my shoelaces is this little piece of plastic. Do you know what that piece of plastic is called? Well, if you're a Phineas and Ferb fan, you know that it's an aglet. And if your kids are Phineas and Ferb fans, they know it's an aglet. And that's the name of that little cap on the end of your shoelaces. Now, that's not artistic, the invention of the aglet, but sure was creative because it solved a problem. Lacing your shoes. Now, kids inevitably have been through this, and you remember this from your childhood, where your aglet would fall off one of your laces, and then your shoelace would come undone. Oh, so annoying. So ask yourself, what technique did you use to lace that shoelace? Were you the kind who would do the lick and twist? Would you use a lighter and kind of burn it down to a nub? Did you grab some Scotch tape and try to make a temporary aglet to thread the needle? How did you solve that problem? You were getting creative. And really, the game of life is that we are moving through the game and we're, manifesting what it is that we see for ourselves that we want to manifest. And then along the way, we hit obstacles. We might call them problems. And our job is to solve those problems as they come. Right? So creativity is the muscle we use to solve those problems. And anytime you engage in creative activities, you build the creativity muscle. You can develop creativity. The more you create, the better you get at creating. So just like when you go to the gym, the more you work out at the gym, do the benefits end when you leave the gym? No, they travel with you throughout the rest of the day. Same goes with creativity. So as you engage your creative mind, you build that same mind and you get better at solving problems. Pretty fascinating. There is a study that took kids who had taken music lessons and they put them into two groups. One group, and both groups got a math question to solve. And they got a timer with like a button. And he said, all right, hit the timer to start the question and then hit the timer again to stop the timer when you either solve the question or you quit. What the kids didn't know is there was no answer to the question. It was an unsolvable math question, and it was there really just to mess with them, because that's what psychologists often do and researchers do. And what they found was the kids who had music instruction stayed with that math problem, trying to work it out, reworking it, trying it again, 11 times longer than kids without. That's really a lot longer, right? So let's say that let's just use minutes, right? So let's say that the cohort that hadn't had music lessons stuck with the math problem for 1 minute before they quit. The group that had music instruction stuck with that math problem on average 11 minutes before they quit. Now, how often do we quit in life? We quit on ourselves. We quit on our family members. Might quit on our neighbors, might quit on our colleagues or our coworkers. We might quit on a dream. Just imagine for a second if all of the things you ever quit on, you had given all of them 11 times the effort before you gave up. What might you have broken through? I mean, we have no idea, right? We just have no idea what our life would be like if we had this frustration tolerance that comes from being creative. And so just to consider, if you want to do a better job at solving problems in your life, engage in the creativity gym.